Welcome everyone to this Sublingual Sessions 4 webinar. My name is Stephen Thomas. I am one of the course directors for PRATI for the CAP training program. And this is an exciting series that we've been doing sporadically. We're on number 4 here. So it's always really a thrill and exciting when we have a new playlist to share and to dig into. So I'm very excited and grateful to have all of you joining us for this. It's just such a joy to talk about music and ketamine and psychedelics and how these worlds synergize and intertwine. So I hope that you all enjoy this. The way that this is going to work is we'll do a little introductions here. We're going to listen to the music from the playlist, some selections from the playlist. And then at the end, we'll have some time for question and answer. So you guys will have opportunities at that point to be unmuted and ask questions, and I'll walk you through how that works. But just a welcome to everyone, and welcome to our guest and our Sublingual Sessions 4 curator, Juan Pablo Galindo. How you doing, Juan Pablo?
Hello, yes, thanks for having me. Good.
Great to have you. Yeah. So Juan Pablo, I'm gonna dive in with asking you a couple questions here in a minute. But first, I'll just do a little introduction to PRATI for folks that might not be aware of us, or maybe connecting with us for the first time in this webinar, which would be really cool if that is the case. So PRATI is a nonprofit. It's the Psychedelic Research and Training Institute. And we have, as a nonprofit, we have a vision and a purpose statement. And so just to kind of clue you into what we're all about, PRATI's vision is imagining a world where people flourish and thrive in right relationship with the natural world. And then our purpose is restoring connection to the sacred, which we define as self, community, nature, and spirit. And I think that the music aspect of this really has a strong thread in the vision and purpose, because it's connecting us with something ineffable, something bigger than ourselves. And so it's something that I'm really passionate about. And that's why we carve out this space, and we've created this series to really honor and explore that together. So that's a little bit about PRATI. For the people that donated to support us as part of signing up for the webinar, thank you. We are kind of, a small, I would say even after 4 years, kind of a startup nonprofit. And so, your support really helps us expand these programs. Beyond the ketamine, the CAP trainings that we're doing, we have ambitions to do bigger things and more education and, different ways that we can really achieve the goals that we've set out with the vision and purpose. So big thanks to everyone who has supported us. And with that, housekeeping for how this can work is, again, encouraging people to put on headphones if you got them. It's all good if you don't have them. Maybe you have a nice speaker set up in your office there, but if it works to throw them on, it can be a nice experience as we're listening to the music. And you are welcome to throw questions in the chat. And then when we get to the Q&A portion at the end, we'll try and read through some of those. So if things occur to you as you're going through, feel free to use the chat function. All right. So with that, I'm going to open it up to Juan Pablo here. So Juan Pablo, I'll give you a little intro here. Juan Pablo is a psychiatrist and a CAP provider based in Charleston, South Carolina, where his practice is called Inner Bloom Healing Arts. Juan Pablo has been trained in ketamine-assisted psychotherapy by the Ketamine Training Center. He's certified in psychedelic-assisted therapy through CIIS, and he's passionate about music production and the relationship between music and healing. So that's kind of my first question for you, Juan Pablo. What can you tell me about your background with music and how you understand the relationship between music and healing in psychedelic medicine?
Yeah, no, awesome question. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me, and thanks to everyone for being here with us. It's such a pleasure to talk about music and healing. Um, Gosh, so like I feel like I don't remember when music was not a part of my life. So I grew up in Mexico for the first 6 years of my life. Um, and I just remember on the Sundays, we call them our domingos, we'd always go to my grandma's house, my abu's house. And inevitably at the end of the meal, there'd be like 6 guitars would just like appear out of nowhere.
Love it.
And so my grandpa played and his brothers, and then my dad and his brother, and then my father taught my brother and I how to play the guitar, starting with like folk Mexican tunes, mariachi music. Um, and then my dad was also really into like Cat Stevens, Beatles.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, and then my brother now is a professional musician. That's what he does for his career. And so music's just been deeply ingrained in my family. Um, and gosh, I feel like to me, music is really the original medicine. Like when you think about like a lullaby, or like a mom singing to her little one when they're in pain, or like when I go in at night with the settle our little 7-month-old, like I'll like sing to him, and I just think of like um, the infinite generations of um, our loved ones that have sung to us when we're feeling upset or sad or something's going on. And so the connection between music and healing, I feel like um, they're one and the same. Um, and for me, I joke that I'm actually a musician trapped inside a psychiatrist's body. I feel, like
There's room for both.
yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely fight a lot,
Right.
um, but I'm so blessed to be able to be in the work that I do, because there is such a great opportunity to fuse both of them, especially with doing ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, psychedelic therapy. Um, it's really hard to have one without the other.
Right.
So yeah, so that's how I see those two coming together in my life.
Hmm. Yeah, beautiful. I was really I was touching into, as you're describing your family and the connection to music, to the beauty of that, and resonating with like, you know, the ways that that is true for me as well. My dad always playing guitar and kind of steeping me in Cat Stevens and the Beatles and Jim Croce and like, across the board, like Supertramp, like there's so
Yeah,
much music that is loaded in. And so, yeah, I really resonate with that. Um, and then also, this beautiful space that's opened up for us as practitioners and clinicians that have that music bug, that in this psychedelic space, like there's so much potential, and I think we're figuring it out as we go in some ways, and also hearkening back to indigenous understandings of music for healing as well.
totally.
So yeah, so excited to connect it with you in this. I feel like there's some kindred spirits there. Um, yeah, so tell me about this playlist that you've curated. Like, how would you describe it? What were your goals or intentions for this one setting out?
Yeah. So shout out to all the previous playlists that Prati has put together. They've been amazing. And Allison, who was on last time, she put a beautiful piece
Mhm.
together. Um, and so it was cool kind of looking back at the previous ones and seeing what everyone's put together, and seeing kind of the vibe that was put into each one. And so going into creating the playlist for this is the fourth session, right? So number 4, I guess. Um, I really wanted to kind of make it kind of autobiographical in nature, like sharing pieces that I really love, pieces that are meaningful to me, while at the same time really keeping in mind the arc of the medicine experience. So when I'm making the playlist, I'm trying to really think about what it's like to be with the medicine, especially with a sublingual experience. So thinking about the beginning, thinking about like the ascent, thinking about the middle, the descent, thinking about the end. So keeping all that in mind, and really picking pieces that would fit the experience or correlate roughly with how someone would be with the medicine. Um, I tend to lean on the side of more like melancholic tunes. And that's kind of just what I gravitate to. So I really like those sad, beautiful songs,
Mhm.
and that can be a little bit more like evocative in nature. And so I think this playlist is a little bit different in terms of maybe erring on the side of a little bit more melancholia,
Okay.
which I think is a great place to explore, and a great place to check some things out, and especially on a medicine experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. You told me that when you were working on it, it was like, okay, this is gonna have those kind of bittersweet melancholic vibes, which I was
Mhm.
excited for because I don't there's a little bit of that in some of the previous sublingual sessions playlists, but it's not I want to say like something about what you have put together here is it's first of all, it's exquisitely put together. And
Thanks.
there's such a thematic like through line that these songs are from diverse artists, and there's definitely that energy arc as you described, but there's just it almost feels like there's this constant kind of energy that carries through, and I think that's beautiful. I mean, that's when it becomes art. It's just like, okay, there's a lot of intentionality and emotional consistency while still there's like an aesthetic, I guess you could say, and it has that emotional quality to it. So like evocative, melancholic, introspective were the words that came to mind for me. And then really
Mhm.
rich. There's the production, well, as we'll hear shortly when we dive in, the production aesthetic is really rich and layered and lush. And there's a lot of like, reverb that creates expansion and spaciousness. And so yeah, that is what I get from this. And it's the kind of playlist that you can listen to in an ordinary state of consciousness and journey with, right?
Totally. Yeah, yeah.
And
I
so
love
like
that.
combine that with the medicine and we're really getting somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing those thoughts.
Yeah. Well, thanks to you for putting this together. Yeah. So anything else you'd like to say about it before we dive in?
No, I think yeah, I think that you've achieved the goal when you look at the whole playlist as not separate but just as one entity in terms of like how it conveys a certain mood. And so I think that's what's been really wonderful of the previous playlist, and so I hope to have contributed in some way of creating a piece that is organically connected from beginning to end.
I think you nailed it
Thanks.
in that way. And yeah, just what we're doing with the sublingual session series is trying to, I kind of have used the metaphor or analogy of, like a painter's palette, and these different playlists can be different shades on the palette. And so, when you're thinking about these as clinical tools, we can start to get to know the playlists and, share a little bit with our clients as we're moving into the next session, be like, okay, like what's the vibe that we want to go in with today? Um, and then, oh, sublingual sessions 4, I think that's going to fit for today, and I've already done that. I've used this with several of my clients and to really great effect. So I think there's a sensing into when it's maybe something to explore, like maybe this session will move into this terrain, you know.
Hmm.
So appreciate you adding another color to the palette there.
Yeah, no, awesome.
Yeah. So I think we'll switch over to the playlist. So I'm going to share my screen and pull up Spotify here. All right. Can everybody see that? Can you see that, Juan Pablo?
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay. So here we have our lovely Spotify screen with the intro or the little synopsis. So these are designed for sublingual ketamine sessions, but I'll just put this out there. I have been regularly, using our sublingual playlists for IM and IV sessions. And when I do that, I usually skip ahead 3 or 4 tracks to match the pace of the music, because the first 12 minutes or so are typically when people are swishing sublingually. But just to name that for people out there that want to use these, don't feel restricted if it says sublingual. It's music, and music, I think, I'm moving away from feeling so rigid, like that has like we have to design playlists for each route of administration, because it seems to work really well if we mix it up there. So just to name that, but this is set up for 12 minutes of swish time. So if you are doing a sublingual session, you'll start this on track 1. And if you're going to dive in with IM or something like that, I would jump ahead maybe to 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I did today.
Did you? With a session?
Today I had an IM session with a client. So we started on track 3.
Oh, great. Did you use this one?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Nice. How did it go?
Yeah, amazing. It's great.
Love it. So what we have here are some selections that we're going to listen to portions of and share some thoughts as we go. And Juan Pablo and I met earlier and decided that we wanted to start with track 1 and actually do a little mini mix of the first several songs, so y'all can get a sense of what the intro here is. So we'll start off with Become Nothing by Sundrop. Start at the beginning. Here we go.
So this is actually my track. So I am Sundrop. That's like
no way.
Yeah. So that's.
Oh, you just dropped that on me now.
I was waiting for
that. Is amazing. Okay. All right. So let me recalibrate what I was going to say here. Let's listen for a moment, because this is a gorgeous track.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I'm a Sundrop fan for sure. I love that you open with this. It's so playful and abstract and kind of like, yeah, just like welcoming, but like it's got this just really happy, playful vibe that I think really opens the space beautifully.
Yeah. I think it's really great, especially for those first minutes of swishing the medicine. And so it kind of allows you to be concentrating on maybe your intentions, concentrating on like how your body feels, kind of checking in with yourself. And the music's kind of just in the background. It's not very in the foreground. It's kind of in the back, just kind of setting the tone of being able to take some deep breaths. The beats per minute is like 54 beats per minute. So it kind of like has this parasympathetic vibe to just kind of tone things down.
It really does.
And bring you into the present moment.
What did you use to produce this?
So I use Ableton is the software that I use. And then I use a bunch of like different plugins, like synthesizers.
Okay, like software synthesizers.
Software synthesizers.
Okay.
And I have like a MIDI controller that controls the instruments.
I love it. I love it. There's like kind of like Moog synthesizer vibes.
Yep. Yeah, when I played it for my wife the first time, she said that it reminded her of like a whale sleeping, because there's kind of like this in the background, there's subwoofer sound that kind of goes like boo.
Yes.
She's like, that sounds like a whale that's like doing a out breath, like exhaling. And just like a sleepy whale.
Oh, it's really lovely.
Oh, thank you.
So this one goes 8 minutes, and it kind of repeats. It keeps changing, but about halfway, it feels like it just kind of does another round.
Yeah,
and I love
kind
that.
It kind of is becomes hypnotic in a way.
Yes, very hypnotic. Oh my gosh, the warm scents are so good. Okay, well, super impressed, I have to say. This is awesome. So this goes on, and then we move into track 2. And this is a shift.
Yeah, so this is a shift, and this is a track by Sonic Chaman, who is actually my brother. This is my brother Gustavo. So we got the two bros back to back with the tunes.
Amazing.
But I really love this song because it kind of is the bridge between like us on Earth with someone playing a guitar and beginning to enter into that ethereal space. And it kind of times right with the medicine, so it's starting around like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, where medicine may be starting to take effect. And so it's kind of in a way like saying goodbye to this world here and like entering into uncharted territories with the medicine. But
absolutely,
that's why I chose it to be in this particular spot.
I actually just got goosebumps. I'm really touched by this. It's beautiful that you and your brother are musicians, and that it's opening this playlist this way. The autobiographical thing is, I get it now.
Yeah, I can just imagine him playing the guitar when I hear like that kind of little background lick that he's doing.
This has this very sentimental vibe, delicate, tender, and also really lush and full. So the bridge into the medicine space, like the expansion is starting here for sure.
Totally.
Wow. Yeah, you have a talented family.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, my brother Gustavo, he's my musical hero.
Love it. So this very lovely track. So then we'll move to, then now things take off. So at this point, this next track is when people are putting on headphones and eye shades and going inside. And so this is a sequence of 3 songs by the artist Above and Beyond. And I love that you put those 3 in order because they flow into each other.
Exactly. Yeah, I just really loved how the 3 are basically like one song, and
like one song.
It's like one song. And actually, what I'm working on now is creating like hour-long seamless tracks, kind of like become nothing but an hour long. Because I just love the idea of having a journey where it's continuous, with seamless, without any transitions. Just seeing what that's like for people to immerse themselves in that. And so these next 3 tracks, Great Falls, Nightlight, Don't Leave, are that, and that's why I love how seamless they are.
Listen to this a little bit. As the synths start to come in, it really opens up. What I love about this track is just the expansiveness, the transcendence of it. It's gentle, but it's ever expanding. And I can tell you when you're in the medicine with this song, you just feel like you're on a cloud moving through space, and you're just going, and it's gentle and it's welcoming and it's kind of celestial. So good. And this one, we'll just do a little taste of the next one to get a vibe. So it just flows right into this.
Yeah, I love that first piano sound. It's kind of like and now we have arrived. Like,
oh yeah, yeah, punctuated. Evocative for sure.
And above and beyond, they're actually like electronic
trance
dance
artists, right?
They're like a trance. They're
Yeah.
probably the biggest trance duo in the world, and so it's cool that they created these songs that are just soft and no drums, just atmospheric. And a lot of the tracks that I chose are actually from like deep house, melodic house producers that that show like their softer sides.
Yeah, their artistry, right? Beyond just kind of moving the crowd on the dance floor. It's, yep. So we're gonna move ahead, but those are just such a lovely opening. And like I said, it just really opens the current of the journey begins powerfully with this sense of expansion and being carried into this. Well, I just keep feeling like it's this celestial spaciousness. So these three songs go, and then we hit number 6, which I wanted to highlight, The Wing by Yato. And is Yato also a dance artist?
Yep, so he's a deep house, melodic house producer from Finland. So he's a Finnish guy.
Okay, let's check this out. So this is a shift. So immediately we get this cycling phrase with the little kind of percussive synthesizer. And the low pad, the droney pad, which is so warm and mysterious, but inviting. Hypnotic. And that second note comes in. This is so good. This might be my favorite track on the playlist, just to out myself. This is like perfect ketamine journey music. It's like I don't want to talk over it. It's so entrancing, and it's like the best of ambient music, but with a rhythmic element that can propel you, so you don't feel like you're just kind of hanging there.
Yeah, those little textured synths, they're really playful and they're very hypnotic, like you said, and so I think it allows you to just get into a deeper vibration.
And the just simple, the little kick drums that that mark a little percussive element to carry you through. It's like a heartbeat. Yeah, I could listen to that all day.
Yeah, me too.
It's yeah, that's perfection, I have to say. Let's see. Then we jump to another artist, which I know is a house artist, Kidnap. Used to be
So
Kidnap Kid.
Kidnap Kid. So this song actually comes with a story.
I'll let you.
Is it okay if I like, yeah?
Yeah.
So this is this ties back to the autobiographical nature of the story, and really like sharing a part of myself with creating this playlist. So is it okay if I kind of delve into that for a sec?
Yeah, please.
Okay, nice. So it was 2015, and it was a really tough year for me. My mother passed away suddenly in the middle of 2015. And I'd recently discovered like melodic house, deep house, and had been introduced to Kidnap Kid, was his how he used to be named, at a music festival. And it wasn't until after my mom died that I like really understood a little bit more about like his style of music. And if there's anyone that really encapsulates like a beautiful sadness, for me it's this guy. And so after my mom died, it was really tough for me to connect with the grief. Like I was really just numbed out from everything that had happened, and I couldn't get in touch with that deep sadness. And it was through his music that just was able to like find that deep sadness within me, and like and touch it, and almost say like I see you. And it just opened me up in a way that nothing had for those. I think it was like a month where I was just totally dissociated, in shock. And his music was so healing in that way, that it was able to understand what I felt, to touch the beautiful sadness of losing like the most important person in your life, but also like to celebrate her beauty of who she was as a mom. And so so inevitably I like messaged Kidnap Kid like on Instagram, just saying thank you so much for creating these pieces. They've really helped me in like a tough time. And just like sent them off, and maybe like 3 months later he actually like replied and was just saying that he was very grateful that his music was able to help me in some way. And then invited my wife and I to one of like his following shows, and so we got to hang out with him like backstage. I think we were in like Austin, Texas, and so we went to go see him. Wow. And it was just so great to like meet the dude. And he's just like a young British guy, but he was just so down to earth. Oh my gosh. And like was asking me about like my mom and everything, and we like really had a heart to heart. And then he like played his set in this like club, and like at times during the set he would like look at us and like give us like heart signs, and I'd just be like crying just like losing it in the crowd. And so and so
that's incredible. That's an incredible story.
Incredible. And eventually we ended up like becoming friends, and then he came and played at our wedding, and so he did a set at our wedding like at midnight. So
seriously. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he's now a dear friend, and I'm just so grateful to him for his artistry and for the healing properties that his music carries. And then the title of this song, "And in Me Too, the Wave Rises," it's just very validating, and that you feel sadness like me too, you feel anger that rises up within you like me too, you feel shame like me too. And so that's why I just love the title of this track and the beautiful sadness that it evokes.
Wow. Well, let's listen. Another hypnotic song.
Hmm.
He's a very talented producer.
Yeah, my all-time fave.
Yeah.
And this is coming in around like that 30-minute mark with the medicine too. So now you're really immersed in the experience. And so this really comes in at a time to just really bring you a little bit deeper, to keep like evoking whatever needs to come up for that person.
Yes. It is ethereal and otherworldly. And there's so much emotion, and I can't even put my finger on the emotions. It's sad and melancholic doesn't do it justice, because it's like the richness of life.
Mm.
I know that it's a sacrilege to fade this out, but I'm going to.
No, that's all right. Yeah, or else I would have started bawling in front
I
of,
know, right? Okay,
so,
let's pull it back a
so
little
yeah,
bit.
thanks for saving me
Okay.
there.
Oh man. Thank you. Thanks just for putting so much of your heart into this.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. We wanted to check out Max Cooper. I'm a Max Cooper fan. He's another artist that does a lot of dance stuff, and he has a really interesting production style. So let's check this out. This is the most kind of beat, like upfront beat in the mix, in the playlist.
Yeah, and it comes after a song that's like a little evocative, kind of in a like mysterious way, and so like this comes in as a kind of a breath of fresh air.
Yep.
With the drums, so it kind of gives some breathing room after like a more heavy song.
And it's really uplifting.
Totally.
It's slightly challenging with the glitch, but
yeah,
the melody carries you through with transcendence and that uplifted feeling. So this builds. Okay, there's the beat. A lot of motion in this. It really works well with ketamine. I'm gonna jump to the middle just to give us a taste of a full on. Oh, actually it builds again, doesn't it? There we go. It's an up and down. Let's see. There we go. Definitely the most energetic, I think, in this playlist. So I really wanted to highlight this next one by Julie Byrne and Steve Stubbs. I don't know if you're familiar with Julie Byrne's music as a singer-songwriter, guitarist.
Her voice is unbelievable.
She's absolutely incredible. She has a tiny desk concert that I was watching last night, and
cool.
it blew me away. It's just, I've seen her live before too.
Yeah,
but this track is, she's moved into doing these kind of one-off ambient project tracks with ambient artists, and this is one of those. And so she's more experimental for her. and there's no spoken words here. It's just choral. It's just her voice. But it's a really beautiful track. And it also has the quality, this mysterious, kind of happy, sad synth line that I just freaking love. So we're gonna get to it.
Yeah, this to me is the quintessential ketamine track.
There it is. Wow, 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 wow. It's so soothing.
So soothing. I feel like I'm being like rocked.
And like angelic, her voice is perfect. I love the placement of this song because it comes after Max Cooper, which is so energetic, and then you get this just lullaby. And there's a human element with her voice, which is so grounding.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know this wasn't on our lineup, but this is probably my favorite Aphex Twin of all time, Aphex Twin song from Selected Ambient Works Volume 2, which is like late 80s, early 90s, maybe it was like 92 or 93 or something like that. I listened to this album on repeat throughout high school.
Nice.
And this is the best track off of the album. Probably the most hauntingly beautiful synth line, one of all time.
Yeah. Give me anything haunting and beautiful and I'll eat it up. I love it.
It never gets old. It's like orchestral.
Yeah, those deep tones. I just love those.
Oh my God. He is a genius.
Certified.
Okay. We're not going to belabor that. I just had to get the taste. Okay. Encourage people to fully absorb that song. Let's see. We're going to jump ahead. So there's a lovely sequence here of a lot of different kind of ambient, neoclassical, spacious tracks that really carry. And so, Juan Pablo, where are we at in this phase of the journey when we're moving from like these next tracks? So from like 14 to 20 or so. How would you describe that?
Yeah, I would say this is like the you're kind of like on the downslope. So like you're still like in the medicine, but it's definitely starting to taper off a little bit. And so that's kind of like where we're at there.
Mm-hmm. And you wanted to highlight number 21, which I am sure there's a backstory for this.
Yeah. So this is a good old 21.
Blissful accompaniment.
Blissful accompaniment.
But wait, I have to say it. Blissful accompaniment by the artist Toddler Songs Kids on the album Fun Packed Youngsters Favorites.
Yeah, so we were having breakfast one morning and my wife put this on because our son sometimes has a hard time in the mornings and he just doesn't want waffles and wants this, but we don't have the cereal, and then it's like rah. So she put on this album that she I think she just Googled or she just searched in Sonos like soothing kids songs, and this album came up, and I just came into the kitchen and I was like, whoa. I was like, what is this? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know, some like kids music and
some random kids music.
Yeah, and it was
good for ketamine.
Yeah. And I was like, wait a second, I was like, this would be such a great track for like the ending of a session, because it's just so like peaceful and calming, and like the lullaby and the little tones are just so delicate. So yeah, that's why I threw it in there. And the sound of the water,
Yeah,
just kind of bringing us back to earth, back
bring
to
some nature and
little bird sounds.
it's very precious and childlike. I love the bird.
And I love watching people's reactions when this song comes on,
Mm.
and there'll be like just the subtle smile on people's faces during the session.
Yeah, I have found that something music like this towards this part of the arc is just so grounding and heart-centered. It takes people into their child parts, this innocence and playfulness and freshness. I love that you put that in there.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. I had one more I wanted to play for us. So we move through this, and this is, I love the last phase of the playlist of any kind of journey playlist that I like, ones that I've worked on or ones that other people have really put a lot of thought into, because in some cases people aren't going to be in the medicine anymore, but sometimes they will, and it's just the grounding, like the back to earth and back to your body and back to your life and yourself, the integration phase, the descent and
Totally.
then reintegration phase, I think is really important. And so, I really try and give it as much thought as I do the rest of the playlist when I'm putting stuff together, and it looks like you did the same.
Likewise, it's very important.
So I wanted to just highlight this one by Essie Jane. There's some other tracks by Essie Jane that I've used in other playlists, and this one I hadn't come across this one, and I really love it. With the guitar,
Yeah.
we are back to earth, we're in the world.
Yeah, I love putting tracks with instruments that you can imagine someone playing, so you can hear her hand moving on the guitar. Whoever's playing the guitar, you can move. You can like picture the fingers moving.
You hear the squeak on the strings.
The squeak, yeah. So it's just really bringing us back to earth and feeling like a connection with the organic music.
Organic. So well done with the vocal. Okay, what emotions come to you with this?
Gosh, I feel like this like nurturing feeling, that I'm being like held in something so serene, so calming, and so that serene, calming feeling really comes in for me.
Yeah, it feels like the close of a ceremony.
Yeah, good, well put.
And it's like sealing the sacredness with warmth and compassion and beauty. and like that serene kind of tenderness, like you're cradled and rocked. Yeah. Yeah, my hope is that some people will still be in their headphones soaking this one up as they come to the close.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But if not, then it can still play in the background while we're
Mhm.
doing some integration. Wow, what a beautiful journey. I'm gonna stop us here. Okay, and we'll come back. I feel nourished from that. I really
Yeah,
do.
me too. That was awesome.
Yeah, I don't really have words, but you really put yourself into it. The stories now are going to bring so much more meaning for me to this, and I just think that it comes through in the energy of what you put together. That it's just it's you put yourself into it, and there's all the components of music that's meaningful to you that can be stitched together and create something new that's its own work of art.
Yeah.
That's why I do like to think of this playlist curation. Anyone can do it, and you don't have to, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of time to put together beautiful songs. But then there's also something to be said about really being intentional and creating something unique. And so I thank you for adding another lovely slice to this project, and something that is going to move and heal people, exponentially, because we get this out to more people, more therapists and clinicians and doctors, and think of all the people that are going to hear this.
Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you very much for saying all that. And it's been such a honor to share it with everybody.
So let's move into a little question and answer for folks that might want to chime in. If you can turn your video on, it's always nice to see some faces. And the way we'll do this is, let's see. Okay. So if you want to ask a question, feel free to raise your physical hand on the screen, or you can use the little wave hand reaction on Zoom, and I will call on you. All right, I've got, I want to say Donna. Okay, there you go.
Hello. Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity. My question is specifically about putting together a playlist. Do you folks put together playlists specifically for a person? Like, kind of, you've been working with them and you know their intentions. Do you ever pull in specific pieces maybe that bring activation, maybe something that you've talked about with them? Or I guess that's the question basically, is do you ever create a playlist for a particular person, knowing like your healing happened with that particular playlist from Kidnap, and so working with a person, their history, and yeah, I just wondered if you guys ever do that.
That's a great question. Thank you. Juan Pablo, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have not created a playlist with a particular person in mind, but I think like what I'll do is just when someone comes in before the medicine session, and we're setting the intentions for that journey, just kind of seeing like where they are in terms of their process and the healing journey, and then from there I'll be like, oh, maybe this would be a good playlist to use like 3 from PRATI or 2 based on like what emotions I feel like would be good for that person to get in touch with. I feel like sometimes when I've tried to like play DJ like in the moment, it's at times backfired on me. And so now I just really will just pick the playlist and then trust the arc of the playlist. And in a way, like, again, just trusting it and letting go of that and not fixing too much in like, I have to play this song right now or this song for this moment. And so yeah, that's kind of how I approach it. But that's a cool question. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, I would kind of echo that. I've approached it in a really similar way, where, I'll kind of chat with the person before their session and feel into, yeah, where they are in their process. If we're doing a series of sessions, we've tried different playlists each time to give them variety. And, not always, sometimes people do want to revisit a playlist, and that's okay. But I use my intuition at that stage of like, okay, like, they are wanting to feel more happiness and joy and brightness. And so then I'll turn to a specific playlist, or, I have a couple in mind for that. And then, there's some intuition at that point, but then at that stage, I typically we just use it. And in my discussions with them about the approach to music, generally we get on the same page of just like not trying to control and just allow what comes to come. And, there's a trust that they have that I'm going to choose music that's generally going to be supportive and not throw them some intense curveballs. There's not going to be anything too aggressive or noisy, or, with vocals that are recognizable that can pull them out. So, there's a curation on the front end of like having tools that I know are generally useful for people. And then there's a trust. I will say that I have on one occasion allowed a client to create their own playlist that was all music that they had prior associations with, that was very meaningful for some work that they wanted to do on grief. And it was great because it was like the 7th session and it was a high dose IM, and they had finally gotten to the point where they wanted to dive into this specific grief work. And I thought it was fantastic. It was empowering. They spent the whole weekend putting the playlist together. And I would never use it with anyone else because it was way too unique for this particular individual. It was a lot of it was Nintendo video game music and Star Wars theme songs. And and they went there. They completely, like, it was so perfect. They came out of it and it was just, I saw them sobbing at the point, that they knew what they wanted to do and the music got them there. And then after that, we went back to some of my playlists to do the closing session. So, there's no kind of rigidity to the rules along this. There's some guidelines of things that I think are generally helpful. But yeah, I mean, if someone, wants to throw a song in there somewhere, like I would do that, I think that it's about allowing this process to unfold organically with the client empowered, but also recognizing that control can get in the way. So whether I'm DJing or they're wanting to skip every track, there's a control piece that we usually can look at. And what's it like to let go and just trust the music to take you? Because it's going to change. There'll be another song, it's going to change. Did that help answer your question? Great, thank you. I see a hand up for Anya. Anya, you can see if you can unmute yourself.
Yes. I have 2 questions. I don't want to be greedy, so you can just choose maybe which one you find more interesting. I'm a music therapist, so this is just of deep interest to me. And I've always wondered with the PRATI playlist, because I've heard and used them myself. And this really goes to you, Stephen, or you, Juan Pablo, in the creation of playlists. have music therapists ever like been consulted, or have you looked at music therapy literature and like ideas and concepts? I'm always curious about that. And I'm really curious about use of vocals during journeys, and I'm happy to hear about any experiences that either of you have had with vocals, either like you think like working during a journey, or like kind of because of that human element sort of pulling somebody sort of maybe even out too soon. And when you do use vocals, when do you use them? And what's the thought behind where and when you put vocals in?
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for both questions because they're great. Yeah, so I'm not a music therapist, and I am interested in learning more about the kind of, the literature and the traditional practices of music therapy, just to, be better at this, right? If there's stuff that I can glean and learn. So, that's where I'm at. This is just kind of based on experience and intuition and trial and error and practicing and coming up with stuff that seems to work. And also just, I freaking love music. So, so I'll say that. I'm interested in, I'm thinking about perhaps when I have the time and space doing like the Helen Bonny guided imagery to music training, just to understand, because these are people that have thought about this for decades, and used it really in a journey kind of context, but without medicine. So thanks for the nudge there. And I'm curious about that, and awesome that you're a music therapist and that you're, I'm curious, about your use of our playlists and how they seem to work for you, but we can leave that. And vocals, Juan Pablo, what do you think about her question there with the question, or with the vocals and where they come in?
Yeah, so I don't think I've used vocals in any of my playlists, unless like they're maybe in a foreign language. I know some like colleagues will put in vocals at the very end of a song that's maybe familiar in some way, like a Beatles song. But I think you said it, like being very careful that you don't introduce something that's gonna like have the thinking mind like pop up and be like whoop, like latch on to the vocals or lyrics, or trying to understand like what this is saying, because that's what our brain wants to do. And so really, yeah, kind of staying away from really concrete vocals for most of the playlist. But I think there is a room for them at the end if you want to, or like Stephen said, sometimes a client will have a song that they'll ask to play at the end, like once they've kind of like fully landed, they'll say, can you now play the song that I wanted to play? And at that time it can be really powerful, beautiful. And so yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for those questions.
Yes, thank you both.
Juan Pablo, have you done any training in music therapy?
I have not. Yeah, it's such an amazing field. And so again, thank you for what you do. And like I said before, music's the original medicine. And so it's so wonderful to heal through just music in itself.
And Anya, if you want to chat about some of this stuff offline, I'd love to pick your brain a little bit. I'm curious.
100%. Always ready and willing to dork out on music.
Okay, fantastic. So you can shoot me an email. I'll put my contact up. Thank you.
Sure thing.
All right. I thought I saw another hand at some point. Is there anyone else that has a question? A comment? Yes, Amy. Oh, you can unmute.
Just more of a comment. Juan Pablo, I used this playlist with a client on Friday, and it was absolutely spectacular. I really enjoyed it, and I was so excited to get to the little kid song. And when it came on, like I get goosebumps thinking about it, because just like you said, this just sweet smile came on her face as she was landing into that just gentle, playful place. It was really lovely. So
Oh,
I loved
wow.
it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
It was wonderful, and I'm actually really looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to get together with like a medicine group that of professionals, and we're gonna use this playlist.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll spread the word. Thank
Nice.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Maryland.
So this is the first group I've been a part of with ketamine. And so I am curious if everything you're saying can be applied to MDMA and psilocybin. It's just the timing is different, would you say? And is that appropriate to even discuss that right now?
Feels appropriate to me. We could talk about music and psychedelics. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I'm also one of the therapists for the MDMA trials for MAPS at the site here in Charleston. And so I curated 2 MDMA playlists. And so yeah, you basically have a lot of the similar ideas of how you want to arrange the playlist, the arc, but the timing is way different. So for MDMA, that initial like introduction with the music is about an hour, maybe like an hour long, and so you really time that shift around that like hour and a half mark. Well, with ketamine, it's about 10 minutes to 12 minutes. And then it's really about not getting into a sprint with MDMA and more kind of like a marathon. And so allowing ebbs and flows, times of reflection, times of movement, times of evoking. And that's where I actually learned a lot from being at dance sets, specifically like with Kidnap Kid. Like there'd be moments like he would do like a 3-hour set, and in the middle of the set there would be these moments where the music would just get so evocative and like raw and like really like intense and almost like this robotic sound, and you're just like almost to the point where you like, couldn't take it. And then all of a sudden it would transition into the most beautiful piano song with angelic voices, and just like brings you out of this like darkness that you've been feeling for the past like 15 minutes or so. And so the juxtaposition of those 2 elements is so healing. And so especially with MDMA, I build the playlist to have those moments where it kind of gets really deep and evocative and a little bit more challenging per se, but it really is always followed by a song that helps you kind of break through and like you land into this very beautiful, peaceful place that just allows you to have those deep breaths, and you wouldn't have gotten there without the previous song.
Yeah.
And so really thinking about like how each song relates to each other is really important for all medicines. But I think with MDMA, you just have to pace yourself because it's a long journey, and psilocybin as well.
I just wanted to speak to my personal experience on the vocal, and how with both MDMA and psilocybin, that feminine voice, not necessarily even a language, but how important it was. And that I remember the first time the feminine felt just so silky coming in, and how healing that was. and then the music that brought forth the masculine, and the dance that then began between the two. Now, is that a similar experience that can happen with ketamine? I mean, are you on the same track of that that dance, that movement as one possibility? It depends on what's going on for the person, but I'm just really so curious about ketamine versus these other two as I step into more ketamine work. So, but yeah, whatever you feel like addressing or not, I don't want to take you
yeah.
off track. Yeah.
No, this is great. This is what the space is for. We're just curious about these things. I have a theory about ketamine specifically, with music being different than some of the other medicines. And it's something about the dissociative quality of ketamine, just the phenomenology of a ketamine experience, where you put on the headphones, and if you're wearing headphones, I like to wear the headphones, and then the medicine hits and you dissolve into it in such a immersed way that I know you can achieve that with psilocybin and at times with MDMA, but there's just something about ketamine that seems unique, where you actually inhabit the music, and it becomes like, I've had experiences and I've heard clients have experiences where, like, you don't even know it's music anymore. It's the world, it's everything. It's the architecture, it's color, it's movement. And the song will shift and all of a sudden everything goes and it builds a whole new world. And I don't know that, I mean, I imagine high dose psilocybin can get you there too, when you're entering kind of the more mystical states. But ketamine just, there's something kind of unique about that. So I don't know. I don't have enough experience working with other medicines in a clinical sense. And I don't know, maybe Juan Pablo has something to add to this, but that's what I'll say about the ketamine, is that's why I think, and you also have like a shorter amount of time to work with, so you can really craft like a journey that's cohesive, and someone could just go in and have an hour experience that takes them through this incredible journey where the music is everything. Juan Pablo, what do you think?
No, yeah, totally agree. I concur. But yeah, I think it's a little bit easier to craft with ketamine that arc in a way that is a bit more predictable than with the other medicines. It's kind of tough just because the journey is so long. But yeah, I agree with your experience of ketamine really blending with the music, and I've had clients ask if there was even music playing.
Yep.
And they're like, "Was the music on?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was playing." And they're like, "Oh, I think I was." And they're like, "I think I was in it. And I think I was the music." So it really just allows you to immerse into the vibrations and to the tones in a way that unifies you with the experience.
Thanks for those questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Ray.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks for what you do. Big fan. Yeah, my question is, have you guys thought about reaching out to artists or collectives like, All Day I Dream or June and Deep, with their reflections kind of side of create music for us? I feel like a lot of them are pretty open-minded. Now that you have an Ian with Kidnap, maybe it'd be something.
Yeah. So I was talking with him last month. He just had like his first kid, and so we were talking about like being dads. And I like pitched them this idea of creating tracks for medicine experiences. And he thought it was like such a cool like arena to be curious about it. But he was like, "Mate, I just don't have time. I'm working on my next album." And but I think that's such a great thing to present to them and see if there is a collective, because they have such creative minds, and their gifts of producing these sounds is unbelievable. And like especially the June and Deep, All Day I Dream, I feel like that talent can be put and that's such a cool collective way of creating music for medicine journeys.
Yeah, I agree. And Ray's speaking about some kind of record label DJ collectives
Oh yeah.
in the dance music world. All Day I Dream is a collective and also a label and also a party brand, and
Yeah.
they do this. It's a whole aesthetic, and that's what I love about the electronic music world is these people kind of create an aesthetic, and then the other artists come in that kind of blend with it, and they create this whole kind of, it's its own little subculture that's music oriented. And yeah, I mean, I think that the confluence of, you know, the electronic and neoclassical and all these kind of like cutting edge producers out there, it's a natural progression for them to get into producing journey music. I mean, John Hopkins already did that. John Hopkins, the artist, already did that with his sort of psychedelic therapy album, which didn't really do it for me, to be honest. It was a little too washy.
Yeah.
But I think that you're going to see more of that. Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Don.
I did my first playlist. I assembled my first playlist a couple of weeks ago for
Awesome.
an IM journey that I did myself, that I took.
Wow. Nice.
And I had the experience of feeling like I was moving through the architecture of the music. So it was very interesting to hear you basically use that same language. But having said that, I do wonder sometimes, because it's really an exquisite experience, the way that ketamine, it just feels like it's weaving through your brain. And I just wonder if we run the risk of having that become dominant in the experience, and maybe pushing aside or not leaving enough room for personal material, or something that might emerge in a less structured environment. Like, I like the John Hopkins album, partly because it leaves so much room for kind of a unique take on it. It's not as assertive. So I just wonder what you think about music possibly taking over.
I think there's so much room for more colors on the palette. And that's why I want to create many of these playlists with different approaches as possible. Actually, our Sublingual Sessions 2 playlist is unique in that it's very minimal, and there's a lot more space for people to bring material to it that's not so evocative. It's more of it's a little bit more of a blank slate, but it still gives people something to work with. And I've found people that the folks that I've decided that was a good fit for, and we tried it, in every case, they really got into this weird like IFS kind of realm where their parts were coming up. I have seen that happen organically with other playlists, but there was something I was like, oh, maybe there's something about the way that this minimal vibe of this playlist is allowing people to get more introspective and more granular with their parts. So yeah, I think that there's so much room to experiment with that. Maybe one day we'll actually be able to study it, right? Like maybe that we can design some trials around this. And maybe this is where people like Anya's skill set could come to bear, right? It's just like, oh, we've studied this. We know these timbres and tempos and things like that, or can bring people into certain psychological states or certain material. But Juan Pablo, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so sometimes like where I get caught up with playlists is actually the transition from song to song. Like I've heard some feedback from clients that they were listening to a certain song, and they were it evoked something in them, and they were like in that experience working through something, and then the song ends, and then just like then the new world comes, and they lose track of like where they were in the moment. And so recently I've been producing hour-long tracks that are like seamless from beginning to end, that still like have that arc, but when you listen to it through, the transitions are basically are very little transitions because it's all seamless. And so I'm wondering if that will maybe allow people to just really immerse in something a little bit deeper without the need of being like taken to another world. Because when you think about it, when you go on a hike, you know, you start kind of like low and without trees, and you slowly transition to some bushes, and you go deeper into the woods, and it's these slow transitions. And it's not like you're walking through the forest and all of a sudden like now you're like in New York City, and then you're in New York City, and then and like 5 minutes later you're like in outer space. So I think it's a cool idea to explore like what a more organic, flowing, hour-long track would do for people's experiences.
Love it. Thank you, Don.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have about 5 minutes left, and I see a new person's hand up. Ross?
Hey, Steven. Hey, Juan Paulo. So on your 4 playlists, is there kind of a theme that you could apply to each of them? I mean, you mentioned number 2 was kind of IFS focused. What do you think of the other 3?
Good question. So if you look on Spotify and you click on each playlist, there's a brief description that gives you a sense of the genres that are included and what we call features. And it's our best sort of brief way to kind of give a ballpark of what, you know, of what you might be working with or what to expect there. So if you're kind of looking at it and you want to pick something out, you can use that as a starting point, and then you just kind of need to listen to it and grow familiar with it so you get a more intuitive sense of what the playlist is like. But that's our approach right now, is just to kind of give a little a short synopsis.
Yeah, you mentioned your personal experience with playlist number 2 that had a specific mode of action. That's kind of really where I'm going. Is there any other experiences that you can apply to 1 through
mode of action as far as like areas of the psyche that it accesses and things like that? Yeah, this is uncharted territory. So I have to say I don't know. This, like, that playlist 2 thing is, you know, I'm not a researcher and I'm just kind of experimenting, but that was what I landed on after trialing it with several people, talking with some colleagues who are like, yeah, this is like, there's something about this that might seem that might work for parts work, for example. And so that's as far as I've gotten with it. You know, as the best that I can say is like when people are coming in saying, I want something a little brighter or more uplifting, then I know where to go. But as far as like, I want to dig into grief or I want to access these parts, I think we're just trusting that the inner healing intelligence will lead them where it needs to go, and that the music is going to be supportive to the extent that it can be. And then there's a magic and a mystery to it. But maybe ambitious people that have a deeper grounding in some of the science behind this can help us figure this out down the line, and we can target some things. But there's also like, I don't know, I tend to not be very materialist and reductive and clinical about some of this stuff. There's also a mystery and a beauty to just what happens. So a little both and answer for you. Yeah, thank you. Anya, you want to make a last comment or question? We got a couple minutes.
Maybe a little bit ironic, but I actually am curious if you have ever had people, since we know music is such a big part of this experience, have you ever had people who do not want music and have journeyed in silence? Because I find that like terrifying to think about. And what happens if anybody that does it out there in the world and like somebody's just done it in silence? Curious about that.
There are people, there's someone, I can't remember the person's name. There's some kind of prestigious ketamine practitioner, researcher, someone who does silence with their patients and claims that it's the way to go. I don't recommend that. I recommend music. And I haven't had any clients in my 2 years of practicing want like really put their foot down and want it to be silent. Everybody seems to want the music, and then they get how it works, and then they really want the music. So, Juan Pablo, what you think about that?
Yeah, I feel like that would be it'd be like you're sitting in a raft without any water. You're just kind of like stuck there. I feel like it would just be difficult to move through the medicine without the help of the music. But yeah, it'd be interesting to talk with that practitioner and see their experience with their clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
And why he believes that.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. My approach to all this stuff is I don't have the answers. I don't pretend that there are solid single answers. That's the beauty of it. I mean, we want to come up with best practices and protocols. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do here. But it's also like someone else is going to have something else, and they can teach about that, and people can try that. And, if it's totally incongruent with the way that I vibe, then, I think the more the merrier. We can try different things. But yeah, agree. That's a great metaphor. The raft without the water. I would never want to do that for myself. So, but that's why we're here, to figure it out. Yeah. Well, we are right at the time that we had set up for this. So I just want to express my deep gratitude to Juan Pablo. Thank you so much. And to all of you for hanging out with us, being on this call, being a part of what we're building here with PRATI. Yeah, this is just my life's joy to be able to do this work and to connect with people and explore together and to blend all these worlds of music and healing and psychedelics and spirit and nature. And so I really encourage you all to stay connected with us at PRATI. We're a nonprofit, we're building a community, and we are going to be at Psychedelic Science in Denver for folks that are coming. We have a PRATI party on Thursday night of the conference where I'll be DJing, and our Sublingual sessions 2 and 3 curators will also be DJing, which is going to be really fun.
Nice.
But it will be dance music. It'll be for moving your body, not for lying on the floor. So big thanks to you all, appreciation. And yeah, feel free to hit me up. I'm just going to put my email in the chat here for anyone that wants to reach out. You can also send it info@PRATI and it'll get to me, info@PRATI group. So that's me, Stephen.Thomas@pratigroup.org. I hope you all have a lovely evening and stay in touch with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.